In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to create a custom attachment control using a custom page and embed it inside a model-driven app form. Stay tuned. So I'm here with the A solution. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to go ahead and create a new page, custom page. I'm going to go up here to the menu that says new. I'm going to go ahead and select a new page. So that's how I'm going to start building a new page. Let's wait while this loads. Inside the page, I'm going to start with a layout. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a split screen because I think that's going to be good for our design. Remember, design needs to be somewhat kind of responsive. So I'm going to leverage the containers. The next thing that I'm going to do, since I'm going to embed this inside of a form, inside a model-driven app, I'm going to mess with the dimensions of the application. You typically don't do this when working with regular applications, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here where it says size, and I'm going to go ahead and do custom. I'm going to leave the width as is, but I'm going to say that the height of this is just going to be maybe 500 pixels. I'm going to go ahead and click apply, and it looks about right. You know, 500 pixels will be okay. You may have to mess with this more to get your control to fit well within inside a model-driven app. And now I'm going to go ahead and insert the table that I'm going to be working with. In my case, I'm going to add this to my pet sickness table. So I'm going to go ahead and do pet sickness. All right. And then I'm going to just go ahead and insert the attachments control. So the attachment control is not available anywhere else. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly grab it from, a SharePoint list. I'm going to go to SharePoint. And I'm just going to go to SharePoint, quickly connect to a SharePoint list. I'm just going to connect to my test site. I'm maybe going to go into I don't know, have a pet list in here. The only reason why I'm doing this is to quickly grab the attachment control. And then, keep on going. So I'm going to go into my forms. And why can't I do it? Oh, I'm inserting in the wrong place. Insert the form and edit form. And I'm just going to do my pet list. And now that I have this form, hopefully the attachment control is not showing up in here. So I'm going to go into fields and I'm going to go look for attachments. Yep. And I did all this work just to get that control. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this little guy right here. So I'm just going to go exit out of here and I'm going to add it into my container, maybe my left container. And then I'm going to go and delete this. And I'm going to delete this from here. All right, now that I have my attachment control, there's some errors in here. I'm just gonna care about the items. I don't care about the tooltip. By the way, I'm gonna build this so quick, right? You may want to make this pretty, right? What I'm trying to show in here is the point that you can actually leverage this as a custom control instead of a baby as a PCF control. So basically, I have my attachment control, and then I guess what I need, now maybe is insert a button. Right, so I'm gonna go ahead and insert a button here, and this button would be sole purpose would be to upload this. So in order to do this, I'll probably leverage Power Automate to upload this to a SharePoint document library. So before I do this, let me go ahead and quickly create a new document library. So I'm gonna go to Site Contents, and I'm going to go ahead and do a new document library, and I'm going to use blank library. I'm gonna call this my pet sickness attachments. I don't want to show this in my navigation. So I have a document library, which is going to store my attachments. And then I'm basically going to add a new column in here that's going to be the type text. And this is going to be my Dataverse GUI, right? Because I need to be able to then filter my attachments based on a Dataverse record. So I'm just going to make this a single line of text. And looking good, I'm just going to put it in here. So now that I have that created I'm gonna go and create a new Power Automate flow. I'm gonna go to Power Automate. I'm gonna go ahead and create a new flow. I'm gonna do create from blank. I am going to call this, give it a good name, upload attachments to a pet sickness. And basically, I'm going to need basically two things. I'm going to pass a file, right? And then I'm going to pass a text, which will be my GUID, right? My GUID, and then my file content. That's fine. Then the next step will be to basically go ahead and create that file. So I'm going to go to SharePoint, create. I'm going to do file, maybe file. Yep, create file. I'm going to choose my address. And it's going to be Juan, and then it's gonna ask for the document library. So I could think I called this my pet sickness or something, if I remember correctly. Yep, pet sickness attachments. And then my file name is going to come from my dynamic content, which of course is not in here. So basically what I will do is I will go and write expression, dynamic, file content, but I do not want the content bytes. I actually want the name. If I remember correctly, this is the schema that it wants. Yep. I'm gonna go ahead here and then copy this. I'm gonna put it here as an expression, and then the file content, it's my file content. And once I create the file, the next thing is I need to update the properties. So I'm going to go and then properties, SharePoint, and then proper, and then I'm going to update file properties. Again, same SharePoint list, and then my library name, pet sickness, and then the unique identifier, which hopefully this is the one. It says item ID to get or update file property. So it looks like it wants the ID, and then the DV GUID will come from the GUID that I pass. So basically, this will be my flow to create new attachments. I'm gonna go ahead and save. And loading. By the way, I'm trying to get better at recording videos for you guys. So, do leave in the comments if you think I'm doing a good job in making videos. It's not easy. All right. So I have my button in here. Now what I will do is unselect. I'm going to call that, upload attachments, run. And it basically, the first thing that it wants, it's my GUID. Which I don't have right now because I need to get my integration from the model-driven app. So what I'm going to do at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and save this. Obviously, I'm going to call this my custom, attachment, control. I'm going to do save because I need to get the model-driven app integration. And the only way to do it reliably that I know of is I'm going to show you guys in a second. So, well, make sure that it saves. I'm going to go back out. I'm going to go to leave this. Yeah, I do want to leave. So I'm gonna go back into my table. I'm gonna go into my form for pet sickness. I'm gonna go into forms, and then I'm going to, add this as a placeholder in the place where I want to add this attachment control. So basically, what you want to do is so I already have this form. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add maybe a one column section here at the bottom. And then what I need to do is I'm going to add, just any field will do. So I'm gonna just choose my ID. I'm gonna put it in here. I'm gonna go to the bottom where it says components. I'm gonna do a new component. I'm gonna do a Canvas app, right? And it's going to ask me for the ID of my custom page. Luckily, I don't have it, so let me just grab that. I should have grabbed that from before, but that's okay. You guys are seeing me. Grab it. So I'm gonna go back to my solution where I'm building all of this stuff up. I'm gonna go and look for where I have a lot of things going on in here. So this is my custom attachment control. I'm gonna click on the three dots. I'm gonna go to advanced, and no, I'm gonna click where it says details, and it wants this. It wants the app ID. So I'm gonna grab this app ID. I'm gonna put it here as a static value. and then I'm gonna click done. And once I have that added in here, then I'm going to basically go ahead and and do save and publish. And this is publishing. And I'm going to go ahead and okay, I'm gonna go back into classic. I don't know why this only works in classic. I think there's another way to get it, but I'm just gonna switch to classic. This is the way I've been doing it, so it just kind of makes sense. I'll teach you guys the way I do it. And then I'm going to look for that field in here, this, the one that I added. I'm going to go where it says change properties. I'm gonna go back into controls in here. I'm gonna select my Canvas app, and then I'm going to click where it says customize. This is going to open up again my custom page, but you'll notice in here now that I have something, a control, that allows me to get the context of the current record that I'm on that form. So just bear with me for 1 second. Now see, now that I'm back in my form, my custom form again, but now I have access to this little special control in here called model driven form integration. All right, everyone. So I took a little break to see what's going on. And this is good that you guys are seeing this video. What really happens is that actually the onStart or even the onVisual does not work when you're embedding these custom pages inside your model-driven app form. So you kind of have to work around that situation. So that's not going to stop us from doing what we need to do. So now when we click upload on the unselect, that's where I'm running. You can run the code to grab the context of your record by passing right the first model-driven form integration add data.item ID. This will return the GUID of the current record that you're standing on in your model-driven app. And at this point, you can grab the information that you need. So I'm passing to my flow right the GUID of the record and then the file that I'm trying to upload. Once this is finished, I'm just resetting my attachment control. In my gallery, I'm kind of doing the same thing, right? So I'm filtering my pet sickness document library to only show me the records of the current record that I'm on. So it will only show me the attachments that are related to this current record. Once you go ahead and do this and just click on publish, you should be able to just go back into your form, right? So this will, once you load your model-driven app form, you will see, your form here at the bottom. I can go ahead and attach a file. So I'm just going to choose something like my property analysis sheet. I'm going to go ahead and upload. So this is uploading, right? You'll notice that it doesn't appear right away. So just because, it's running a Power Automate flow and it doesn't have the context, inside of the app, it doesn't know that it finally refreshed. So you got to click refresh library, but eventually you will see your file in here. I can go to a different record, right? Back to my pet sickness, and I can choose a different one, right? You'll notice that it's blank, right? There's no attachments related to this record, but if I go back to my record one, right, you'll notice that here's my attachment, right? Because this is related to this record, by my, record four, there's no attachment. So I can go ahead and just click upload, right? Again, this is pretty quickly that I did it, but I'm just here to show you guys that this is doable. So I can upload the same record, right? Upload it. It's actually running the Power Automate flow in the back end, right? So, but eventually, refresh, and then you'll see your file in here. This record is blank, so there's no file.